or contender? Jeffrey, your Indianapolis Colts. Super Bowl pretender or contender?
Absolute contender. Listen, this team is top 5 in passing, top 6 in rushing, leading the league in scoring. They got a top 3 scoring defense. All of this, they got an offensive line that's mauling people. Jonathan Taylor's putting the ball, making it happen. Warren has been an insanely good addition to this offense. You got Pierce, Pittman, Downs. These guys are all, the ball's being spread around. Steichen's done a great job. This is a very good football team. They're absolute contenders.
And you didn't even mention the most special weapon, I think, is Tyler Warren, the guy catching the ball right there. They'll put him at quarterback. They put him at fullback. They put him at tight end. They'll split him out. He's an incredible weapon. And the defense, I think, is getting better. With the new coordinator, I think they'll get better as the season goes on. I think Jeff is absolutely right. These guys are real Super Bowl contenders.
That would be a story. Kmart, Baker, and the Bucks. Pretender or contender?
You already know. They're a contender. In a season of injuries, the Bucks continue to be down, guys, and what does Baker do? He continues to find ways to win. Yeah. Kembo sent me these stats. He's first in the league in 40-yard passing touchdowns, first in 30-yard passing touchdowns, and first in 20-yard passing touchdowns. Dang. He did it without Emeka Egbuka. He left in that game. No Mike Evans. So many guys are injured, and he just finds ways to win.
No Chris Godwin, no Bucky Irving. Peter, when/are they getting all these people back?
Look, Bucky's not going to play in the Monday night game against the Lions. We know you're not going to get, obviously, Chris Godwin, but the thought is maybe Mike Evans comes back, but Egbuka likely will not play, and then you have the bye week, and you get these guys back. Truth of the matter is, Cade Otton and Tez Johnson and Cameron Johnson, it doesn't matter to them. Next man up, it's been their story all season.
Now, they win all these close games, and then Baker had his masterpiece on Sunday. Finally, Neek, Pittsburgh Steelers, pretenders or contenders?
I mean, I think they're pretenders. I got to be the only one being negative up here. I think they'll probably win the division, but the question is Super Bowl contenders. I have a hard time seeing them with the way that their defense is playing. It's okay, but it's not the dominant defense that we've grown accustomed to. The theory for the Steelers for the last several years is if they could just get an offense to pair with this great defense, they'd be fine. The defense is no longer great, and the offense doesn't really seem like it's consistently rolling. We'll see what happens when they match up against some higher caliber teams.
Or we'll see if the offense gets better and better, as their quarterback suggests it might. He's 41 years old, but Aaron Rodgers says he is finally now starting to feel like his old self.
I think I'm kind of going like this body-wise. You know, I'm just getting healthier. I had a great break on the bye week. I'm feeling like, first couple weeks, I was a little tighter, I felt like, and I'm starting to loosen up and feel a little bit more like myself.
Look, we had a good discussion on Sunday Countdown about whether this group around Rodgers is comparable to the group that Brady had when he went to Tampa. And the answer was generally no. Brady had better players. He had a better defense, as good as we think this defense should be, and he had all the rest of that. The point, I guess, is if Rodgers, who has been something of a facsimile of himself, does really start to feel better, does start to get hot, does start to play a little bit more like an MVP than what we've seen the last couple of years. Does that change anyone's mind about the Steelers being ready to make a deep run?
It does not for me. I don't see them being able to sustain this offensively because they don't run the ball well. And as teams start to score, right, they play the Browns, who has a great defense, but they're not scoring any points. So you can stay conservative. You can stay kind of in your game plan. And you still saw Aaron having to move out of the pocket and make throws on the run. At some point, the pressure is going to catch up to them. I think they have to be better. They have to establish the run in a much better way, and they're going to have to make sure DK Metcalf, but it's going to be led by the defense. If their defense doesn't play lights out, this team is not going anywhere in the playoffs.
Kmart, you had their game this past weekend. What did you hear from them? What did you observe?
I love this defense, but being in that locker room, standing in front of Jalen Ramsey, he's talking about, he had 2 sacks in that game, by the way, but he's talking about, I'm on this defense, you turn around and you see just the versatility. I'm playing with T.J. Watt. I'm playing with Highsmith. I'm dealing with Nate Herbig. Like, all of these guys together, they are tough, but it's almost like the Browns. When we talk about the Browns, like, they have a great defense, and yet the offense is kind of dragging them down. That game, that score at halftime was 9-3. So when I look at this offense, it's a lot of get the ball out quick. Aaron's got to get it out quick, kind of dink and dunk a little bit, and then he makes this tremendous touchdown throw in the back of the end zone. I think that is hard. It's hard to sustain. especially when you got to go against good teams with really good offenses.
I think it's early in the season, so there's hope that the offense gets better. You could still say Aaron Rodgers is just starting to feel completely better about his Achilles. The offense is growing around him, so they could get better. And the talent on defense certainly suggests that they could be dominant, but you actually need these things to happen. If you check in on them in 4 weeks and they start playing that way, it's a different story, but we haven't seen it yet. We've seen a defense with more names, but they've actually taken a step back as far as production is concerned. And you've seen Aaron Rodgers and his offense not really take control of very many games.
Peter,
so we'll see.
put a ribbon on it.
I think there was a hesitancy to jump in on the Steelers because of that mix of familiar old school names, the Jalen Ramseys, the Aaron Rodgers, and of course the DK Metcalfs. All these names are like, well, are they on the back nine? Truth of the matter is their young guys have been playing better than expected too. So there's this great mesh. I was a little hesitant saying, yes, Steelers, they've got it because it's a long season. But they have a young core that's helping out as well. They are pretty well balanced.
And the stat that was on the screen a moment ago was a good one. They have as many wins as the entire rest of their division does combined. So, you know, you can't win the Super Bowl in the first 2 months, but you can lose it.
Absolutely.
The other teams may have lost it. So the Steelers might have themselves a better season than we thought. Coming up, I'm going to ask this group a question about the Cowboys that is going to make them lose their minds. And that is because, like most geniuses, I will not be Chris Godwin playing without Bucky Irving. They've got nobody.
Two starting offensive linemen are out.
Yep.
When other teams get injuries like this, take a look at the list. You hear about how hurt they are, why they can't win.
Right.
With Baker, he just continues to roll. He is the one guy that has elevated everybody else, that has carried this team with all these players injured. And it is really remarkable
It's
what's
the
going on
one
with
position that makes up for all of that makes up for all the penalties in 3.5 quarters of football, that makes up for a player getting rid of the football before he gets to a goal line, anything like that. The quarterback makes up for it if he's special, and Baker Mayfield's been special this year.
The thing about Baker that I find most interesting is that he came into the league as the #1 pick with a chip on his shoulder. And so he became an easy target. People want, because when you're the #1 pick in the draft, now he's on his 4th team. He's become the underdog. He managed to be the first pick in the draft who has managed to become like a scrappy underdog. I feel like the entire league is rooting for him. He may be right now the most entertaining player in the entire league to watch.
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 5-1 with that list of injuries, you got to give credit. The guy is the MVP of the league right
And
now.
I know we always talked about how the Packers went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. Hey, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield.
Not on purpose, but they signed him to a 1-year contract to compete with Kyle Trask. All of a sudden, he is the leading candidate for MVP of the league, and suddenly the Buccaneers feel very much like a team that could go a long way. Are they going to get these guys back? I mean, Ibuka now is a hamstring.
Evans has a chance to be back this week. Don't think Godwin will be back this week. I don't think Bucky Irving will be back this week. And the Buccaneers play on Monday Night Football, I believe it is, next week against Tampa Bay, against the Lions. So that's a great matchup.
You can play that 3rd and 14 on a loop for me. I mean, that play.
That play.
Teddy loved that. Teddy loved that.
You got faith in
One more
quarterback
time.
on 3rd.
And one more time, Cindy. Show it over to
I got to give Baker some love right here. 3rd and 14. Pump fake, duck, beat 2 tackles right there. Another pump fake. Quick left, left, right, stiff arm. And then put your shoulder down. That's about everything. That's about everything in a quarterback scramble. I'm going to put that on my phone.
Also on his
And then flex on him at the end.
Look, right this minute, it's much too early to be having an MVP conversation, but if you want to, Baker Mayfield feels like he has taken the lead in that spot.
I told Teddy he was making a mistake this morning when he took his wife out for the screensaver and put up Baker Mayfield.
I'm sorry, man.
Okay.